The sun bled across the horizon, painting Red Hollow in streaks of gold and scarlet. Dust hung in the air like smoke as a lone rider appeared on the ridge, his silhouette tall and lean against the dying light. Eli Ward. A name that still stirred whispers in the town below, half pity, half fear. 3 years had passed since he vanished after the fire that had devoured his ranch and his brother. Some said he'd gone mad. Others swore he was hunting the men who turned his world to ash. Whatever the truth, the man who rode back into Red Hollow wasn't the same one who'd left. He carried ghosts now, quiet, merciless companions that rode with him in the dark. The town hadn't changed much. The saloon still leaned to one side, the church bell still cracked, and the dust still ruled the ground. But one thing did stop Eli's heart for a beat. A woman standing outside the general store holding a small wooden box to her chest. Lorna Briggs. Her dress was plain, her hair tied back, but her eyes burned like blue fire. She looked up startled, and the years between them vanished in a heartbeat. He hadn't expected to see her again. The woman who once believed there was good left in him. The woman he'd left standing in the ashes without a word. Her lips parted, her voice barely more than breath. Eli. He dismounted slowly, boots sinking into the dust. Didn't expect to see me, did you? His voice was rough, worn like gravel. Lorna hugged the box closer. You shouldn't have come back. This is my town, he said. Her voice shook. It stopped being your town when you burned every bridge you had left. The air between them thickened, heavy with everything unsaid. The wind carried only silence. Eli's jaw tightened. I came for answers. About what? She asked, though she already knew. He glanced toward the blackened hills where his ranch still lay in ruins. About who took everything from me. Her eyes softened, but fear flickered behind them. You think hurting people will bring peace? Peace is for men who sleep easy, he said. You're only hurting yourself, she whispered. It's the only force I know. For a long moment, the world seemed to stop. The wind fell silent, the light faded, and the space between them filled with ghosts. Then came the sound of hooves, 3 riders galloping fast down Main Street. Dust billowed behind them. Eli turned, his eyes narrowing. At their head was Clay Bowers, once foreman of Eli's ranch. Clay smirked as he reined in. Well, I'll be damned. The ghost of Red Hollow rides again. You know why I'm here, Eli said. Clay laughed, a cruel sound. Still chasing ghosts? That fire took your brother in your mind, Cowboy. Let it rest. Eli's hand hovered near his gun. I'll rest when I find the truth. Lorna stepped between them, trembling. Stop this. Enough blood's been spilled. Clay's grin widened. You should listen to the lady, Ward. She's got more sense than you ever did. Eli's eyes hardened. You talk too much. The moment cracked open like thunder. Clay's hand flashed toward his gun, but Eli was faster. One shot split the air. Clay's hat flew off, blood tracing a thin line across his cheek. Eli had missed by an inch, on purpose. I don't miss twice, Eli said. Clay stared, breathing hard, then raised a hand to his men. Stand down. His tone changed, darker. The man wants answers. Maybe it's time he heard the truth. The men headed toward the saloon. Eli followed, giving Lorna one last look that said, don't follow me. But she couldn't let him go again, not into that darkness. She trailed behind, heart pounding as the saloon doors creaked shut. Inside, the piano went silent. The smell of whiskey and smoke clung to the air. Every man in the room watched as Eli walked in, his spurs echoing like a heartbeat. Clay poured himself a drink with a trembling hand. You worked for my brother, Eli said. You knew who came that night. Clay didn't look up. That fire was an accident. My brother was shot before the fire started. The words hit like a gunshot. Clay froze, the glass shaking in his hand. You got no proof, he muttered. I've got your name in my brother's ledger, and a bullet pulled from his chest that matches your gun. Clay's eyes flicked up, defiant. You can't prove that. I don't need to. I just need to hear you say it. Clay laughed weakly. You think killing me will bring him back? No, Eli said quietly. But it might stop the nightmares. Before Clay could answer, the saloon doors swung open again. Lorna stood there, wind in her hair, fear in her eyes. Eli, stop this madness. He turned slightly, his face softening for the first time. You shouldn't have come. I couldn't watch you destroy yourself, she said, stepping closer. You're not this man. You don't know what I've seen. I know what you've lost. But if you keep living in that fire, you'll burn everyone who ever cared for you. Clay sneered. Listen to the lady, Ward. Eli turned sharply. Shut up, Clay. Clay smirked, reckless now. Your brother was a fool. He got himself killed trying to stop something bigger than him. You can't fight the men who run this town. Eli's eyes narrowed. What men? Clay hesitated, then spoke low. Judge Harrow. He wanted your land. We were told to scare your brother, make him sell, but he drew first. Things went bad. The judge said to burn it. Make it look like an accident, Lorna gasped. Eli's face went white. The name felt like poison in his mouth. The man he'd once trusted, the man who'd stood at his brother's grave. Why now, Clay? Eli asked. Because I'm tired, Clay said. Tired of running. The judge owns this town and your grave too. Eli's stare hardened. Then I'll dig deeper. Lorna caught his arm. Eli, please. This will only end one way. He looked at her hand, his voice cracking. You're hurting me. Then what are you chasing? It's the only force I know. He turned and walked into the night. Clay poured himself another drink. You can't stop him, he muttered. He's made of ghosts now. The wind outside had died. The courthouse loomed across the street, its windows glowing like eyes. Eli crossed the dust-choked road, every step echoing with memories. The fire, his brother's scream, Lorna's voice in the dark. He pushed open the courthouse door. Inside, a single lamp flickered near the judge's office. He heard voices, Judge Harrow's deep drawl and another man's. The deed will be signed by morning, Harrow said. Red Hollow will belong to the railroad. Eli stepped into the doorway. Seems you've bought enough already, Judge. Harrow looked up, startled. Eli Ward, you're supposed to be dead. Seems you say that to a lot of people. You've made a mistake coming here, son. I made a mistake trusting you, Eli said coldly. The judge's face hardened. Your brother was weak. He stood in the way of progress. You burned him alive. The judge's hand darted toward a drawer, but Eli's gun was faster. The bullet tore through the wood beside his hand, scattering papers. Next one won't miss. You can't win, Harrow spat. I own this town. Not tonight. The door creaked open again. Lorna stood in the shadows, tears streaking her face. Eli didn't see her. The judge straightened slowly, voice oily with arrogance. You think killing me will fix anything? You think it'll bring your brother back? Eli's hand trembled. No, but it'll make things right? Harrow sneered. There's no right out here. Only men with power and men who die fighting it. Your brother died for nothing. Eli's finger brushed the trigger. He died with honor. Honor doesn't build towns, Harrow said sharply. Honor doesn't feed men. You'll die forgotten. Eli's eyes burned. Then I'll make sure they remember what happens to liars. Eli, Lorna whispered behind him. Don't do this. If you kill him, you'll lose the last part of yourself still alive. Harrow lunged for the drawer. The gunshot cracked like thunder, shattering the lamp. Darkness fell, broken only by moonlight. When the smoke cleared, the judge was trembling but alive. The bullet had missed him by an inch, tearing through the law books behind him. Eli lowered his gun. You're not worth it. You don't have the guts, the judge spat. Eli stared coldly. No, I just finally learned what my brother tried to teach me. He threw the gun onto the desk. You'll hang for what you did. You have no proof. Eli pulled the old ranch ledger from his coat, the one with the judge's false signature. This says otherwise, the color drained from Harrow's face. Eli turned and walked out. Lorna followed him into the rain that had just begun to fall. What will you do now? She asked quietly. I don't know, he said. I've spent so long chasing ghosts, I forgot what living feels like. You can still start again. He looked at her, eyes softer now. You always believed in things I couldn't see. I believed in you. For a long moment they stood in silence as the rain washed the dust from their faces. You're hurting yourself more than anyone ever could, she said gently. It's the only force I know. Then maybe it's time you learn another one. Eli looked up at the sky, letting the rain wash away years of guilt. The judge would face justice. The town would wake to truth. Red Hollow would finally breathe again. He walked to his horse. Where will you go? She called. He turned, a faint smile touching his lips. Wherever the storm stops. She watched as he rode into the fading night, the rain glinting off his coat, the sound of hooves fading into the distance. And when the first light of dawn broke through the clouds, Lorna whispered into the quiet morning, Goodbye, Eli. The town of Red Hollow exhaled, free at last.